I'm going to be honest with you. I've already cut 2, just to make sure it works. I'm going to show you how I cut the legs now. Here's that 4x4 blank that we worked on before. That's 29 inches tall. And what I want to do is I want to cut an angle. And what I'm going to use to do that is this jig. And I simply set it up hard against the fence. I take my piece and I put it in to the jig. And I've got a stop block back here. And I turn the saw on and cut. Now you'll recall that my saw blade won't cut through 4 inches of lumber. So what I have to do is when I'm done cutting this, I have to use a handsaw. And I'll show you that as soon as I'm done here. When I edit this, I'll speed it up. So as you can see, I've cut a wedge out of it. And if you look a little closer, you'll see that it's a little uneven here. The table saw cut here, the handsaw cut here. And you can see that the table saw also scratched this. And I'm not worried about that because when I'm done cutting all of these, I'm going to run it across the joiner and make that all smooth and flat on both sides. Now I'll show you how I cut the other side. So one face is cut. I need to cut the second face. And this one goes a lot easier because I've already removed so much of the material. I just take the part that I cut and I turn it 90 degrees, put it in the table saw, and run it. By keeping the jig flat up against the fence and the workpiece flat up against the jig, I end up cutting that angle that I've described with the jig. Now, I lift this piece out, take the saw, and finish the cut. But as I said, it's much easier because more material has been removed by the table saw. Again, it's easier over on the workbench where I've been doing it, but you get the idea. And there you have it. a shaker cut style table leg. This will face out, whether to the side or to the front, and this slope in is what defines it as a shaker style. Run it through the joiner a couple of times, it's be nice and clean. So like I showed you, it's a little bit of roughness on here. So I'm going to run it across the joiner and sweeten this up a little bit, take away saw marks and the ridges. And what I'll do is I'll put it on the joiner, pushed up hard against the fence, and that's the square. And as I run it through multiple passes, I'll chip away some of the high spots until I have one smooth surface. Now do the other side. Now you can see that I've taken away all the rough cuts, all the saw marks. Now a little bit of light sanding, round over bit on the edges, and that'll be ready for installation once I cut the mortises in for the kitchen table.